Hello. Some time ago, I had offered the Magic for Mystics class. I've had quite a lot of success with a lot of the students who took that class. And quite a lot of people asking when I was going to offer it again. I had originally offered it and then extended the period of time that it was offered. And now I'm ready because the last of the students that are taking the previous course have been finishing up, you could say. So I'm ready to offer it again. Magic for Mystics, in case you missed it the first time, is an online class composed of 15 units. And this is a class that is meant to be an instruction on the Western teachings of the esoteric, on magic, from the point of view of the Eastern idea of advancing and transforming yourself and attaining enlightenment. And these aren't actually Eastern views, they're universal views, because that was always the ultimate goal of the alchemists, of the hermeticists, of the union with the divine. But I think that a lot of people kind of lost sight of that. And so you have, in my experience, a lot of people who have explored Eastern techniques of meditation, including some that are very foreign to their background or to their culture, and that maybe are unnecessarily difficult for them to get into in their heads. But they hadn't really considered the Western practices because they just saw it all as kind of a mumbo jumbo, or like I described in the first video as meditation's poor cousin. You know, that there wasn't a richness of possibility of spiritual development in these strange, practices like the invoking of gods or the evoking of demons or drawing pentagrams and all those things. But I think that that's because very few teachers have really explained it in a context of that spiritual path, of that mystic journey. And I think on the other hand, you might have some people who have already begun to explore Western magic, but that have felt as though there's maybe some component to it that they're not connecting to, that they're missing. And I think that component is that Eastern element, you could call it that, of consciousness, of awareness, and that basically there's a saying that magic is the yoga of the West, and it really is. It's a set of techniques that are meant to develop, first, your concentration, and second, to explore your own inner being and to discover what is your ego, and then how to change and transform that ego, and ultimately to transcend it. So this is going to be a class that is going to it's going to be very much focused, rooted on the Western side of things. I might someday offer a class that is the opposite, you could say, that's rooted on the Eastern side of things. But this is focused on the practices of the Western occult tradition, of ceremonial magic, like they call it, but that has that emphasis on the meditative quality, and that you're doing this not because you're a heavy metal fan or something, or not because you're hoping to just communicate with angels just because, or something like that, but because you're trying to achieve a state of transformation in yourself. So there's 15 units in this class. The first video I did on this course, I suggested that someone should be able to finish it all in a month or two, and I think maybe now I could say that that's being a bit optimistic, because it depends on the person. I think that someone could do that, but only if they were really dedicating their time to it, right? The way it works is that you're sent one unit at a time, and each unit builds on what the previous ones focused on, and you have to complete a certain set of exercises in that unit, and then present me with your your conclusions about the unit and get feedback, and there's a period there where we can be talking back and forth about your experiences, putting them into context or looking at different areas of what you did. And then when you're ready, you move on to Unit 2, and then Unit 3, and then Unit 4, and so on. The units are meant, obviously, in a course like this, you can't teach all of Western magic, but they're meant to give you the best solid foundations, first of the discipline that you need, of the kind of focus that you need to be able to then do magic effectively. And then the second part of the course begins to actually do magic, like you're actually doing different ritual practices once you've got that context of the concentration and understanding symbolism. Those are the two biggest things that you need to have a good foundation in those. So this can be a class that even if you've already done some things, the techniques that are being taught here, especially in the first half, are maybe kind of missing keys that you don't find in a lot of books on this subject. There are things that will give you a context in which you can really figure out how to make these rituals and these magical operations end up being more than just words you say, and actually, because of that concentration, because of understanding what you're doing in symbols, you can end up having it have a profound effect on your inner being and your psyche. The units start with an instruction on the 4 elements, the laws or rules of magic, you could say, which includes a new version of the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, instructions about the magical diary and the magical tools, then instruction on basic meditation to connect, what you could call grounding or earth meditation, the practice of asana, which is a technique to concentrate, to focus yourself, breathing techniques to be able to, on the one hand, develop a concentration on that level of the air element, but also to be able to help you to later learn how to vibrate. Magical concentration, how to focus your mind on a single image or a single concept. And then we start learning about symbolism, the pentagram, the elements. We do the connection to the cycle of the sun with the adorations. You learn about vibration, about how to assume God forms. We practice the middle pillar. Then you learn how to do banishing. You learn about the planets. And then the last 3 units are the kind of the big ones where you actually get very heavily into practice with learning how to do invocation, and then evocation, and then path working, or what you could call astral travel. So this is a unit that, a class that gives you a full groundwork in the basis of magical practice from the point of view of mysticism, and acts as a really good base for then you to jump off and study more and learn more, or to take these practices and apply them to your other paths, to the other things that you do in your spiritual practice. And it has the advantage over a book format or a pure mail-in class format or something like that, that it is supervised, that you'll get feedback from me, you can ask questions, you can write as often as you like, and I will try my best to give you a perspective on the things that you might not have completely clear when you just first read the material. So it's a pretty feedback intensive course, not as much as the IMP where in that program everything is guided to the particular student. These units are fixed units, but you still get the benefit of having a one-on-one with someone who's already been through this process and knows these practices and can give you some hints and answer questions and address difficulties that might come up along the way. The cost of the course is $50, and we'll be offering the course from the date that this video airs until probably 2 months after that. So it is a limited time thing, because later there'll be hopefully other programs that I'll be starting up. And hopefully you won't miss this time the opportunity to take it. I mean, it probably won't be the last time the Magick for Mystics is offered, but the next time it might not be at this kind of price. If you're interested, please feel free to contact me, and hopefully it will be something that you'll find deeply productive for your spiritual growth. I trust that it will be.